Juggalos in recovery.
Juggalos in recovery, man.
All the juggalos in recovery. Be proud of you. Juggalos in recovery. Those who want to help you are juggalos.
What's up, homies? It's your boy Sober with a brand new edition of Recovery Chronicles. This video is going to be about my last 6 months and what I have learned. We're gonna jump right into it and talk about one thing that I found, or realized I should say, is the recovery program that I deal with always preaches about being open, honest, and willing. Well, I thought that I was being open, honest, and willing in every area of my life. What I did not realize is, because of some of the things in my childhood that I have gone through, and my automatic way of dealing with trauma, I ended up being dishonest with myself without even realizing it. And I learned in the last 6 months a true form of honesty that I didn't know that I could get to. I've always really hidden from my past. I didn't want to ever have to deal with it. To tell you a little backstory, I got in a relationship. I was started off even different than all of my other ones in the past. I ended up seeing that our relationship was a healthy relationship. And I didn't know how to deal with that because I've only ever really dealt with toxic relationships. So when it came down to it, it was something that was different than what I was used to dealing with. So I ended up rebelling against the change of growth. And that ended up sending me down a very toxic path where my old toxic traits started coming back from when I was an active addict. And it took me a while, and it led me down a really, really dark road, to the point to where I had thoughts about committing suicide. And luckily for me, I stopped myself and called a really good friend of mine, and we talked it out, and I called the veterans hotline and got therapy, and now on pills for my PTSD and depression, dealing with all of that. Went through therapy, and during all of this going on, I realized a lot of the things that I thought I had dealt with fully in my early sobriety, there was another level to it that I didn't know existed. And I had accepted and forgiven the people from my past, but I was still holding resentments because I was still hurting. So what ended up happening was those resentments just kept overflowing into the new relationship that I had, and it had taken away the growth that I had from the previous years of sobriety, because I did not want to let go of the pain and the hurt that I had, because I didn't know how to deal with life without it. And that might sound like really messed up. I had so much pain in my life and so much hurt and so much rejection and just disrespect and being treated so badly. And then I get someone in my life. I'm not saying everybody in my life treated me that way. The majority of people did. And I get someone in my life that I love and I care for to a point that I didn't even know I could care for and love someone that much. And it triggered something in my brain to push them away so they wouldn't feel the pain that I had. When in reality, what was actually going on was I didn't know how to deal with the change of going from toxic relationships to a healthy one, and I just didn't know how to process it. So I fought it. Instead of trying to stop and breathe and understand what was going on, I fought it every step of the way. And I went through so many different ways of trying to sabotage my relationship with her that it got to the point to where my mental health started going downhill fast. And one thing that I learned on my way back up to a normal level-headed state was that even though in the beginning of my sobriety, when I went through the steps, I did what I had to do that made me comfortable with sobriety and what I needed for growth at that point, I realized that I had a lot of more work to be done because of the emotional maturity level that I had. I needed to grow on a deeper level. I needed to be able to deal with things on a deeper emotional level than I had before, because before I wasn't able to because I'd never understood it. The difference between then and now is I have the capability of understanding it now, and in the past I did not. So it took a little extra help from outside people with a couple therapists and so on, and dealing with my support system and going to meetings. And I figured out that I have to be honest with myself to a level to where it's scary for me. And that's the only way I know that I'm being completely honest, is that I'm, as of right now, I've never been this honest with anybody, including myself. So because it's scary, that means I'm doing it right, because I am scared of change. I am scared of letting everybody, including myself, know who I really am. And the fact of the matter is, one thing that I have learned is that I am not a bad person. I just so caught up in all of the negativity that surrounds me, whether I want it there or not, that I start mixing into my surroundings. So I had to start being brutally honest with myself and set boundaries and guidelines. And one of the things that I ended up doing with my therapist was picking 6 values that I wanted to base my life on, and those were my goals. When I come to a situation I don't understand and don't know how to react to, I fall back on what my values are. My values will tell me how to deal with that situation, so I will always be my true form, my true self. And that has helped me grow so much. Another thing was I started having thoughts. I have always had thoughts that were just never really true. It's just the what ifs got out of hand. And one of the things my therapist had helped me with these thoughts were, instead of having just the thought, control your thoughts by saying, I'm having the thought that I'm worthless. But I'm not worthless. But I was having the thought that. So by saying I'm having the thought that I'm worthless, you add because this is happening, and then you realize that it's a learned behavior from your past that is bringing you down, and now you have the chance and the opportunity to stop that old behavior and allow yourself to become a bright, beautiful flower in the world. Just those couple things helped me improve how I see myself. By being able to do that, I was able to start helping others again. The last 6 months, I was not able to help a lot of people because I was not right mentally and emotionally. Now, over the short few months, I have made enough growth to be able to come back and start helping people again. It's been quite an amazing journey. I am truly blessed and truly grateful, and I love you all. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you need any direction, you just want to talk, anything, reach out to us. Just remember that you are loved, spread that positivity, and just be happy. Much love. Boo boo.
Juggalos in recovery, man.